If you're not looking to transfer in these players in FPL ahead of Game Week 8, then are you doing FPL correctly? We're going to be having a look at some of the best transfers in my opinion, going into the next game week. These are all players that are definitely on my radar, and some players aren't being talked about enough in my opinion. So we've got some players here, and do drop a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel as well if you are new around here. It takes 1 second to do both of those, and we'll jump straight into this video. So then we'll start off with our first player, and that is Nori of Wolves. Now I think he is an amazing transfer in, and he's not been transferred in much at all, and he's not really been spoken about too much. Obviously, his next fixture is against Man City, which is the main reason for that, but this is someone that is definitely on my radar. I'm not planning on making any transfers personally in Game Week 8 unless I have any injuries, but if I was to make a transfer defensively, Nori would be my transfer in. Obviously, I wouldn't be playing him against Man City at home. That is a terrible fixture. But beyond that, the fixtures for Wolves are really nice for a long run. It's a good 8 or 9 game weeks in a row where, for me personally, I'd be happy to play Nori. He's already picked up 2 goals and 2 assists so far this season. And as you can see, his defensive numbers, or his numbers going forward for a defender are very, very impressive. 0.24 XGI per 90 minutes, and which is amazing for a defender. Obviously, he's massively outperformed his XGI so far this season. But that's not to say that he can't carry on getting goal contributions, because we've seen it for numerous seasons. He's very good going forward. You could easily have the argument that Wolves are terrible defensively, which is absolutely true. But the argument to that would be that their fixtures do get a little bit better defensively for Wolves. And as well, you kind of bring in an Nori for the value of 4.4 million. He's so cheap, and it's the attacking potential you've got with Nori, which you haven't really got with too many other 4.4, 4.5 million defenders, in my opinion. So that's the differential and the kind of difference to picking an Nori. There's not many clean sheets either way with players at 4.5 million. So for me, it's like, why not go for a player that's actually got potential of getting an attacking return? I do think it makes sense. And it's not to say that Wolves can't keep a clean sheet, because they have got some fixtures in there, like Palace at home, Southampton at home, which, might, you never know, you might be able to get an odd clean sheet in there with maybe a 1 or 2 attacking contributions with bonus points potentially in there as well. You're looking at, a potential really good value option there, in my opinion. Now, moving on to a player which has been transferred in by a lot of people so far, over 100,000 transfers in so far for Chris Wood. Now, he has been on international duty with New Zealand, and he looks like he's on his way back now, the long journey over from New Zealand back to the UK. And he only played 30 minutes yesterday for New Zealand as well, which is good for FPL managers. Only 30 minutes played. He did also bag a goal as well in that 30-minute spell that he was on. But pretty nicely rested there, to be fair, going into the next game. Obviously, a lot of question marks thinking, will he actually be back for that Palace game? But in my opinion, I think he'll be absolutely fine. And so far this season, he's been very impressive. And Nottingham Forest in general are a team that's impressed me massively. Going forward, they haven't scored a lot of goals, but Chris Wood scored the majority of it. He's got at least half of Nottingham Forest goals so far this season. So, I mean, he is decent, but his XG isn't the best XG per 90. It is 0.4. There's another striker that I've got later on in the video that has got better numbers than that. But Chris Wood, he bagged 14 Premier League goals last season, and he's already started the season with 4 goals. He just consistently chips away and gets you some points. I think this is the week to transfer him in if you're going to transfer him in. If not, his fixtures do get a little bit tougher after the 4 games that he's got. He's got a really nice next 4 against Crystal Palace at home, Leicester away, West Ham at home, and Newcastle at home. Then Arsenal away, and then I think it might be Ipswich after that, and then after that it gets tough for Nottingham Forest. So you could say he's got a good run of fixtures in the next 7 games. Bar that Arsenal game, it's 6 out of 7 good games. So I'll happily take that. 6.2 million. I think he provides great value. And as I say, he just chips away at points. He's a bit of a boring pick, yes, because he probably isn't going to come in with massive points holes. But if he just gets an odd goal here or there every 2 or 3 games, then I'm absolutely not complaining about that in my FPL team. So I think he's great value at 6 million, and he's starting pretty much every single game at the moment. I don't really know what's going on with L&E, but Chris Wood is pretty nailed as well at the moment. He does get at least 70 minutes pretty much every game, 70 to 80 minutes. So he's a good pick at 6.2 million. I really like him personally. Now, moving on to our third player, we've got Brennan Johnson of Spurs. He's absolutely the man in form. He bagged another goal for Wales last night, and he is suspended. So I think he is missing he's suspended for the Wales game, so he's missing the next Wales game. So he'll be nicely rested for Spurs going into the West Ham game. And as you can see, he's been doing really well so far this season. His numbers are very good as well. An XGI of 0.62 per 90 minutes. And what I like about Brennan Johnson is that he gets into the box, and he is quite often at the end of the Spurs moves. Now, the way Spurs seems to be playing at the moment is kind of Solanke is dropping deeper, and the 2 wingers in at the moment, it was Werner and Johnson, do run very far behind and get into very dangerous positions. So that'll be Son, you'd imagine, when Son's back for Spurs. It'd be Son on the right and Johnson on Son on the left and Johnson on the right. And at 6.5 million for a player that's doing that for a team like Spurs, who are very, very good going forward, who have been one of the best attacks so far in the league, one of the best to watch as well. Brennan Johnson is a very, very exciting pick, to be honest. At 6.5 million as well, that is the absolute value if he's starting week in, week out for Spurs. The thing that worries me about Johnson is that, it could just be like a flash in the pan. He scores a few goals in a few games, then he absolutely drops off. But I'm struggling to see how that's not going to, I'm struggling to see that happening, to be honest. I do think he's going to keep up this kind of form. Maybe, obviously not to the extent that he's been bagging every single game, but I do think he's going to be able to keep up this form to at least a decent level and provide good value at 6.5 million. Spurs have got a nice run of fixtures coming up as well. This week, I think he's a great transfer in. As I say, I do think he'll keep up this form because he just seems to be in the right positions, and the way that Spurs are playing, they're absolutely playing to Brennan Johnson's strengths. So he's definitely one that, I don't think I'm going to be able to get him in my personal team, but if I had a free transfer and had a midfield slot available that I needed to make a transfer, Brennan Johnson for me would be the number one pick. I think he's a fantastic option at 6.5 million, honestly. And the next player that I want to talk about is Raul Jimenez of Fulham. Now, if you look at the XGI, if we go back to the Chris Wood XGI per 90 minutes, Chris Wood's was about 0.42. And Jimenez is literally double that, or almost double that, at 0.81 XGI per 90 minutes. He's looked so good. Since he's come into that starting 11 for Fulham, he has been very, very impressive. And, he got a nice assist against Man City. He also could have had more contributions in that game. And before that, he was looking amazing as well. And 3 goals, 1 assist since he's come into the starting 11. It does worry. The only worry for me with Jimenez is that Muniz could maybe come back into the team if Jimenez has a few bad games. And Muniz has looked pretty decent when he's been on the when he's come off the bench. He hasn't looked good starting Muniz, but off the bench he's looked a lot better. So that's the one worry that I have with Jimenez, the one reservation. But his attacking numbers are better than anybody else in his price range. At 5.6 million for a starting Fulham striker, I think is absolutely amazing value and has the potential to be the best pick at that price point, in my opinion. Not many people are talking about him at all. And when you look at the fixtures that are coming up for Fulham, it's an amazing run of fixtures for going offensively. You look at it and you see, you only see 2 green fixtures out of 5, but then you look past that. You look at Aston Villa haven't kept a clean sheet in the Premier League up until that game against United. They've only kept 1 clean sheet all season. Everton have been not the best defensively at all, especially if Branthwaite isn't playing. They haven't been the best. I know they kept a clean sheet last game as well. But then Brentford at home, very nice fixture. Brentford have conceded a lot of goals. Same with Crystal Palace. They haven't been the best defensively so far this season. And then Wolves have been terrible defensively as well. So if you look at that block of 5 fixtures there for Fulham, it's very, very good for an attacking Fulham asset. And as I say, at 5.6 million, Jimenez could provide amazing value to he's a bit of a differential to someone like Wood, who a lot of people are choosing at the moment, and he is 0.6 cheaper than Wood, and his numbers are per 90 are much better than Wood. Maybe I'd say Wood is more nailed in terms of, if Wood has a few bad games, he'd probably be more likely to stay in the team than a Jimenez. But at 5.6 million, I think he's a great gamble and he's a great punt to go for, in my opinion. So let me know what you think of that pick in the comments down below. So let me know what you think of those 4 picks in the comments down below. Let me know what transfers you're going to make this week. Drop a like if you've enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel as well if you are new around here. If you've watched up to this point, then you may as well hit subscribe. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.